Without federal assistance, the unemployment compensation system will be insolvent somewhere in June.
Today on First Financial BizBeat, record unemployment claims have the system running on E, and the potential fix might be just as painful. How states are keeping truckers well fed on the road and small businesses in operation. And 2 local companies are creating solutions for mask and ventilator shortages. First Financial BizBeat starts right now. Good afternoon and welcome to First Financial BizBeat, presented by the Business Courier. I'm Kyla Woods. Well, record low unemployment, a booming stock market, and a prolonged real estate boom. February feels like so long ago. A month and a half into this pandemic, and life for us has changed forever. On the front page centerpiece this week, disrupted. Business leaders are grappling with decisions that seem unthinkable weeks ago. There is some good news. People are starting to receive their stimulus checks. Ohio and Indiana want to start reopening businesses May 1st, but with strict rules. Masks and social distancing might become normal in your workplace, but stopping the economic bleeding is a whole other task. This week, the Courier is kicking off a series profiling local business leaders as they navigate through this crisis. Today, we're focusing on restaurants. Courier publisher Jamie Smith kicks off our coverage with Brittany Ruby Miller, president of Jeff Ruby Culinary Entertainment.
Thank you, Kyla. Brittany, thank you so much for being in the studio with us today. I know you are super busy at this time, and I appreciate you talking to us. Now, I know the COVID-19 crisis has been very hard on the restaurant industry, including your family restaurants. Can you tell us a little bit of what the last couple of weeks have been like for you guys?
Yeah, no, Jamie, thank you for having all of us on your show. We really appreciate it. The last few weeks have been a whirlwind. It's drinking from a fire hose. It's a very emotional roller coaster because first and foremost, we furloughed so many people who we love, and then also trying to keep a company afloat, and then trying to educate yourself and completely understand how the stimulus package applies to restaurants, what we can do to tailor this and hopefully carve out restaurants so that we get what we need. And so it's a lot of communication. It's been a lot all at once, but I've never worked so hard to go backwards in my entire life. But I hope that through this, there's going to be good that comes out of it. And so we've formed this mighty group in Cincinnati. We believe that if we go to the senators and then we send these letters and we make the asks, that coming together from a united front really. And then we've been told that that's the best way to do it. And so, there's
we all know restaurants are so important to our industry, both in terms of workforce, but even more importantly, they supply something like over 50%, 51% of food source. Can you give us some more impact on the industry and tell me why this federal relief is so important to restaurants?
Well, the relief is critical because we were the first ones to have this Band-Aid ripped off, where some businesses still have revenue coming in. The majority of restaurants effectively overnight went to zero revenue. That just doesn't happen in business every day. So the only thing that's going to keep a company afloat is cash. Cash is king. And so when you look at the industry and you consider 10% of the workforce, the U.S. workforce is made up of restaurant people, and then the ancillary businesses around that. You've got farmers, suppliers, vendors, food and beverage, vendors. It really takes it up to about 20%. So you've got 20% of the U.S. workforce. But what's even more concerning, if you can believe it or not, because this is essential to living, is the food supply chain. And grocery stores are overwhelmed. You've got food vendors that are overwhelmed. The farmers, they're scratching their heads going, it's what do they do? And restaurants are still an avenue for people to get food, which we need. So for us, the logic is yes, airlines are important, but the hospitality industry and the food service industry specifically is really important, and it's critical. It's critical to the health of our country.
Obviously, you're advocating on behalf of your restaurants, your family's line of restaurants, but as well as for all those others in Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, all your peers out there. What is it you want to tell Congress that how they can really help you guys?
Yeah, so far the conversations have been good. I think it's a great start to any business plan. You have to cross the T's and dot the I's. So it brought some immediate comfort that the stimulus package, this bill was passed. And so now we say to Congress, sit down with restaurant folks and see how this specifically applies to them. Unfortunately, the PPP does not make sense. So yes, for us personally, we have been granted the loan. We got the application in. That was cumbersome. That was convoluted. Cost a lot of money in legal and CPA fees to even get that thing submitted correctly because it's first come, first served. So that's the first scary thing. But then when you look at the loan forgiveness piece, you want it to be forgiven, right? You want this to be essentially a grant. And so 8 weeks from the time you close your loan, 10 days after you close your loan, you got to burn all this cash. 75% of it has to go to payroll. And, you know, I joke, is my sushi chef or my broiler chef going to be cooking for a ghost? We're not even open. So
Right.
how do you have 8 weeks where we're burning 100% of this payroll compared to the year before? Because that's how they get the full-time equivalent, the FTE average, just doesn't make sense. And I think it had very good intentions. And so now's the time that we sit down and we say, here's how this works for restaurant people who basically, restaurateurs, chef owners who overnight had their revenue go to zero. And now we're going on about a month with no revenue, no relief, no capital from our government.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you say they're listening. I think I feel fortunate that the leaders and what I'm watching, Ohio and Kentucky, I feel like they have been doing the best in the country and making some sense. So tell you what, we're going to take a brief break, and then we're going to have two of your other restaurateurs in town come on and talk to us a little bit more.
So much important information in that interview. Thank you, Jamie. We'll check back in with him later in the show. That federal relief that Jamie and Brittany talked about is gone. The $350 billion earmarked to help businesses stay afloat is already gone, used up, and shutting out thousands of businesses. The White House is trying to work out a deal with Congress to immediately increase funding. Ohio's unemployment system is also on the verge of running out of money.
Without federal assistance, the unemployment compensation system will be insolvent somewhere in June.
The system has been crushed by claims. More people filed for unemployment in the last month than in the past 2 years. However, Ohio Lieutenant Governor John Husted assured people they will not lose their benefits, but it will be up to lawmakers to come up with a fix. That could be borrowing from the federal government, as Husted noted, or there are two other not so pleasant options.
This is a zero-sum question. It's either going to come from the employers or from the people who are unemployed, and you just have to strike the right balance.
And Hamilton County has started furloughing workers.
Unfortunately, when personnel makes up such a significant portion of the budget, there is a real human cost to these cuts. Several county employees will be notified that they will be on furlough soon.
Commissioner Denise Driehaus says cuts will be implemented in phases. It's not clear how many employees will be put on leave, but county leaders have asked department heads to make 20% cuts. The county estimates sales tax revenue, its top source of local funding, will dive by 70% in some months. Some local businesses are finding ways to use their unique skills to help in different ways. Engineers at AES Control System designed a system that converts CPAP machines for people with sleep apnea into pressure-controlled ventilators. The company says it consulted with doctors across the country who gave them suggestions for improvements.
The concept definitely resonated with all of the doctors and CPAP manufacturers that we spoke with, and that's why we were able to bring this together so quickly, is because we had help from them.
The company delivered the first 25 to New York City this past week, and they are prepared to make at least 100 more, and then hopefully thousands. An Erlanger company is using one of its water treatment products to build a new device. The microwave-sized machine disinfects N95 masks and eliminates traces of COVID-19 using UV light from LED lamps. Aquasense Technology CEO decided to get involved after he got the virus.
If I'm honest, it's having it and relating to it closer. It must have influenced me. It must have. That and just, we obviously have a lot of people come to us because our technology can be applied.
The device can clean 3 masks at a time. Right now, 50 are being made, and they should be ready by mid-May. Up next on First Financial Biz Beat, see how some local businesses are adjusting their business models to find new, high-tech ways to bounce back. Welcome back to First Financial Biz Beat. We'd like to congratulate Terry Coates. He's the managing partner at Markovic, Stock and DeMarco, and another one of our 40 under 40 honorees. The coronavirus is part of the reason there's no more men's soccer at the University of Cincinnati. The school dropped the program Tuesday, citing unprecedented economic times. ESPN reports that the school's most recent financial report from 2019 shows the program had operating losses of $700,000. The players were told during a Zoom call.
Heartbreaking, really. I mean, just all the connections I made here, really just I've been wanting to play for Cincinnati all my life, and it's just tough to hear that I can't do that anymore, really.
Players do have the ability to transfer without penalty. Those who choose to stay will keep their scholarships throughout their academic career. Athletic Director John Cunningham says he has no intention of dropping any other sport. Cunningham says cutting coaches' salaries is also a possibility. Many UC school administrators are taking a 10% cut. That includes President Neville Pinto. The school will not be hiring anyone through fiscal year 2021, and there won't be any new capital projects. UC says it expects a potential subsidy cut of $89 million and less endowment money. Well, the virus is costing the nation's second oldest opera a milestone season. The 2020 Summer Festival would have been the Cincinnati Opera's 100th anniversary. They are asking ticket holders to donate the value of those tickets back to the opera if possible. Donations will be matched by a fund set up for artists. Well, clothing stores are trying to solve a unique problem: sell products inside the store without people coming in to shop. So store managers are doing what they do best, getting creative with thousands of dollars worth of products to sell at Idlewild Woman, for example, and no in-person customers. Tessa Clark has created a new business model.
I get on Instagram, I go live at 4 o'clock, and after 15 minutes, I send everyone down to Sloan Boutique, and they get on their Instagram live. And then Sloan will talk about their own products. And then 15 minutes later, Sloan will send everyone over to Beautiful around the corner, and everyone will shop there live as well.
The videos have gained both businesses new customers, and they're shipping orders across the country. Clark, who's also a Project Runway alum, says Idlewild Woman is considering a personal styling box program to supplement the business. Customers would pay for a box that would come to them with outfits tailored to their needs. One food industry doing pretty okay right now: food trucks. Last week, both Ohio and Indiana started letting food truck operators set up shop at rest stops. That's usually forbidden, but the people working overtime to get all of us our food, truck drivers, were having a hard time getting any food for themselves while on the road. They are, as you can imagine, very grateful.
Oh, I like these trucks here. They're great. I got me something here to eat. It's a good idea.
We're serving quite a bit of drivers from all over the place who are physically coming down to wherever we're at to try and get food.
Well, that's a win-win. The food trucks will be allowed to set up shop in rest stops until the national state of emergency is lifted. When we come back, we talk with some of the area's most well-known restaurateurs about how the way they run their businesses has changed forever. Our top story today is how companies are coping with new economic realities. Courier publisher Jamie Smith is back with a few restaurant owners who talk about what things might look like when they are finally allowed to reopen.
All right, now joining Brittany and I are Christian Piezzo and Joe Lanny. Thank you guys so much for giving us your time. I know you're super busy, so we appreciate this. Brittany, I'm going to go back to you real quickly. I know there are many relief programs in Cincinnati, the Ohio Restaurant Association, the Lee Initiative, several others. that are providing to-go meals for furloughed restaurant workers. How can our viewers help support you guys and your employees in this time?
Yeah, when we heard about the Lee Initiative, I was talking to Chef Jose Salazar, and I was blown away that this is immediate relief that people can go down, restaurant folks can go down, specific to restaurant industry, and every single day pick up a meal and essentials. So if they have kids, there's diapers, there's toilet paper, there's toothpaste. And so we were able, our nonprofit is focused on poverty, but when we have a compliance group basically out of DC that makes sure that we do the right thing with the funds that come through. But there was an allowance for us to be able to give to emergency relief, which was incredible. And so overnight we were able to get a board vote, and we donated $50,000 through the Jeffrey B. Foundation yesterday. So 40 went to the Lee Initiative. They have markets in Lexington, Louisville, Cincinnati, and they're soon to be in Tennessee, which helps us in Nashville. And then we donated to the Ohio Restaurant Association as well, because that covers Columbus. And the Ohio Restaurant Association grant basically is a relief fund where they're looking at this weekly, making grants to those folks who are in dire need, who might be, losing their house, because we know how long the unemployment checks are taking because they're inundated right now with the amount of applications coming through. So we feel very fortunate. I would just say give to the Lee Initiative, the Ohio Restaurant Association's Relief Fund. Both are very good funds that are helping people immediately.
I know I'm a proud Cincinnati and watching all the people, all the different efforts going to help the restaurants. So I know I'm helping out as much as I can, and glad to see our cities doing the same. Joe, let's go to you. As we prepare to open or reopen, hopefully soon, what's in your mind? Like, the new normal is going to be a little different, I assume, with social distancing. What do you think this is going to look like in a restaurant setting?
For sure. It's, it's something we've spent a lot of time talking about. And I guess I'd like to preface everything I'm going to say with, this is all just a guess because we have no exact direction. A lot of the things that we've been dealing with, actually, whether it's the SBA loan or any of this stuff, has been a very quick decision making based on things that we're supposing, and anyway, so we've been kind of planning around stuff that we can address. And so we think takeout, while right now it's what people have to do, we're shut down right now completely, but we will be reopening for takeout for some period of time before we come back into a full service, hopefully, scenario. We think, though, that that's going to continue to be a bigger portion of the sales than it ever was before. And so we are relooking at menus, relooking at packaging, relooking at creating kind of family-style meals that can be made at home for each different concept, that, maybe package an entire meal for a whole family together, focusing on our carry-out procedures, leaning into tech a little bit. Our service restaurants did not previously feature online ordering, so we are rolling out online ordering at all of our full service restaurants. We continue to have the app and the online ordering at our quick service restaurants, which were unintentionally a little better set up for this type of situation than full serves. And then we're just looking at our best practices and looking at the best practices of others and trying to make a bunch of decisions surrounding, what's it look like if we have half the amount of seats? Where do we put things like hand sanitizer? What is going to make the guests more comfortable? What's going to make our team the most comfortable? And what types of things do we need to be bringing in so that guest team continue to feel comfortable? Face masks, gloves for the team, all that kind of stuff, hand sanitizer. Luckily for all of us in the food service industry, we were already held to a much higher standard than a home kitchen. So these are inherently very clean places, and it's part of our corporate culture, and it's part of everyone who's a real professional in this business's culture to work clean and be safe. And so
I for one cannot wait to come in every one of your restaurants and have some Bloody Marys and have some steaks and that beautiful Italian up in Hyde Park. So I can't wait to get back and have that personal touch. Carryout's great, but something about your guys' environments and experiences that you guys have created wins me over. Christian, let's go to you. You know, if viewers want to know what they can do right now to help you guys out, what advice would you give them?
Well, the best thing that anybody can do at this time is really support those who are open for carryout. Like Joe said, this is only a partial part of the business that kind of keeps the business afloat temporarily, where we make decisions as the business transition to what the new format is going to be. We don't really know. Now, I'm connected with a lot of friends in Italy. Obviously, my mom's still there, and I have, you know, hundreds of friends. And a lot of them are in the industry, so I kind of get firsthand, kind of like ahead of the curve information of what's going to be like there and what it is right there. When it, you know, their government is a little different, but you know, the best thing they can do right now basically is to focus on help us with the carry-out sales and obviously purchase gift card for future events, you know, or at least I speak for us. Ford and Hyde Park is still open and we're carry out relatively strong, we'll consider. So these are the two things that are going to help us for the time being.
The gift cards actually play into also helping to continue to pay for employee benefits that we have kept in place despite laying everybody off.
Yeah.
So right
now,
now
I have bought gift cards from all of yours and a couple other restaurants, and I've intentionally sent them to my kids in New York because I know they're not going to be able to use them for a while. So once they finally come home and can use them, you know, hopefully that'll help you guys out. Yeah. Guys, I cannot thank you guys enough for, number one, just being the Cincinnati leaders that you are, but in a time that we're in right now, to see that you guys still have the ability to focus and to see not what's just best for you and your individual restaurants, but what's best for the industry is just a great example of the leaders that you are. So I want to thank you, and we will continue to watch this. And as I said, I can't wait to get back in your establishments.
Looking forward to have you.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
I think we're all ready to get back out there. Well, thank you so much for joining us today for First Financial Biz Beat. For business news around the clock, visit thebusinesscourier.com. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and make sure you sign up for our daily emails. I'm Kyla Woods. Have a great weekend.